We'll see if we're going to show up here live.
Oh, we're gonna. I see us live.
All right.
I really do. I see us live. That's so exciting.
Hello.
Hi, Kelsey. Hi, everybody. Whoever everybody is, which is so fun because I'm not looking at the YouTube share right now. So I don't know who's out there.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up. We're going to take the first minute here to just jump in, find everybody. When I hit live,
Right.
it takes just a minute. Here we go. I found the YouTube live. All right.
I really do. I see us live. That's so exciting.
Hello. Let me mute myself there. What's up? There's Nina. Hello.
Is Nina Dragon's Garden?
Yes, and check out the website. Her dragons are amazing. She's like so
Ooh,
creative. Amazing.
I love dragons.
Yeah, we're talking about doing like a cool little video and like music video with her dragons and one of my songs about someone else's dream. And so I'm kind of excited about that.
That's
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, and we've been working on that on our Patreon pages, which is exciting. Anyway, enough about that. I want to get into the Facebook page here, and I'm going to share this. Sweet, it's
Yes,
shared.
we could. Yes, I know. Well, I'm gonna have to go check out our page because I'm curious what kind of dragons. We're dragon people over here.
Oh yeah, sweet. I should. Yeah. Well,
Carrie's here with us on YouTube too. That's amazing. So have you guys, and you don't have to answer yes or no, but if you haven't joined or liked our Lyrical Lessons for Life page on Facebook yet, go check that out. We are so excited that we're bringing
yes.
that to pull this all together with.
Exactly. Yeah, we're super excited about that. And then also, I just want to highlight how awesome. Hi, and Carrie's here. Awesome. Cool. So I'm on the YouTube page. So if you are chatting on the YouTube page, I can see that and I'm going to pull up the Facebook, but I might be slow to respond. We might be slow to respond on Facebook unless you want to have that pulled up, Joe.
Yeah, I can absolutely have it pulled up. And I have not figured out how to share our live inside of hashtag now yet. So I could
If you
still
copy
figure
the link, so click on the live stream and then hit share on the bottom and then copy link. You should be able to do that.
of the live stream itself.
Mhm.
Oh, really? Well, let's check it out. Am I going to
Right.
double
So
up on audio?
well, you can work
Okay.
on that. So today we are talking about releasing what holds you back. I love
know.
this topic.
I do too.
And we talked a little bit about this. So last week we were talking about judgment, and then we realized that it's rolling into this topic of release because a lot of times when we're judging, there is a moment where we realize we have to let go of things. And so right before we jumped on, we were talking a bit, and I realized that the key to everything we talk about, I swear we bring this up every time, Joe. Awareness. Awareness,
Yeah.
number one.
Yes.
It doesn't matter the
Awareness is the first thing to think about.
awareness is number one. And so then I was thinking this week about things that do hold me back, and they don't. It's not throughout my whole day. It's just sometimes, right? And I'll have a thought, and then I don't feel great about that, thinking about that. And for me, and I want to know what everyone else thinks, but when I realize that I have something that's holding me back, what it ends up being is a thought about something that keeps coming up and it just kind of knocks at my door every once in a while, boop, boop, little knock. And it's once I become aware that it's happening a little more frequently, then it lets me know that I need to look into that. And normally it's if a thought comes up and it doesn't make me feel that great, it's usually something I just need to release. Okay. And so for me, I think for the awareness, and I want to know what everyone else is thinking too, it's not like you look through your life and say, what do I need to get rid of? It's just something through the week, you're just like, this keeps popping up and it doesn't make me feel good. And so it's through that, through time, with so much time passing and so many times it comes up, that then I have the awareness. Yeah.
Right. I think that awareness in and of itself is power, and it's knowledge, and it's all of the pieces that we often blow off when we're moving too fast.
Mm.
Right. And, we're like, okay, yeah, I heard that. And then we move on to the next thing. Or, oh, okay, yeah, that tickled the back of my brain again for the 10th time this week. And I move on to the next thing. And slowing down to understand why it's important to have awareness and be curious about what keeps coming up is really, it truly is the first step. And until we slow down and until we recognize the power of that awareness, we're going to keep blowing it off. We're going to keep letting it just be a thing. And I mean, I did that for years. I'd hear something and I'd move on because I was in a stress response. I was just living my life in this, what I thought was exactly how I was supposed to be living my life, but it really wasn't. So the awareness to that is so important. And that's the first step in almost everything. And when it comes to releasing something, which we're talking about now, it's not just having the awareness, but it's the curiosity of where the heck did that come from and why am I holding on to it?
I like that there's a why that comes in. So there, you have to ask the why in order to understand where it's coming from,
Yes.
what it's doing there. And again, I'll highlight that for me, like it's about the feeling. It's about if a thought comes in and I don't feel great about it, that's when we have to ask why, because that's going to help us understand if it is something we need to let go. And yeah, I like that then. So it's awareness. Okay. And then once you're aware, right, then you can become curious about it. And again, it's only if you want to. So, and something I want to like talk about a little too, as we think about releasing things that are holding us back. If you don't feel like anything's holding you back, you have nothing to release.
Right.
And so what happens is if you figure out that something is holding you back, it's so easy to go back in time and think about, why didn't I let this go before? Well, you didn't, because it wasn't something that felt like it was holding you back.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. I love that because, we are all ready in our own time. And we have to have the experiences that we have to learn how to move through the emotions, learn how to understand what we're feeling. Like, why do I feel differently now than I did then? Why is it different now? And it's because you've had new experiences. It's because different things have happened in your life. Maybe there's been loss, maybe there's been gain, whatever it is. Every new moment allows for you to look back at something completely differently because you're in a new moment. So it's really important to know that not everybody's journey. And I said this morning. Well, no, I actually took it out of a post of mine this morning. Everybody's journey is their own. And although I may want something for someone in my world, until they're ready for it and want it themselves, doesn't matter what the heck I want. Right. And that's another thing to release. I mean, there's this whole idea of not only releasing the thing, but it's releasing my hold on the thing, releasing my hold on myself, releasing my hold on the other person. And it's not like you do it on purpose and with constriction and like, but you still have an energetic hold on the thing, on yourself or on the other person. So
yeah,
I don't even know where we just went, but yeah.
No, I love that. I love that but it's highlighting again that I just, the reason I bring up this and that we're talking about it is because I think it's really easy once you find something that's holding you back and you want to let go of it. The worst thing that I've done to myself through these processes is that I will sometimes judge myself, which is what we talked about last week. And in order to not judge yourself, the easiest way is just say, well, I trust myself, right? That's a truth. I do trust myself. I do have intuition. I love myself, right? So, okay, this thing is coming up for me. I trust myself. And instead of me spending any energy thinking of, why didn't I see this before? That's not where I'm at and what I need to think about right now. I need to let go of this thing. So I'm just going to say, well, I trust that I was making the best decision for me at the time. And like you said, I'm a new person. I've learned new things. I've gone through new experiences. And this is now coming up for me as something that's holding me back. And so
Yes.
now I will work on releasing it. And I think that there's usefulness in looking back at things in our past if we're trying to uncover more whys and being curious. But the moment you realize you have something that's holding you back, you almost, it's just not important to even understand why you even like, you now need to work on releasing,
Right.
and then
Right.
release, then you can go back and go, why did I hold on to it? Is there something more I want to dive into?
Yeah. Yeah. It's I Nina said something that is so near and dear to my heart, and I talk about this all the time, and it's expectations. And releasing expectations of any situation is very, very important. And it's even we talk about expectations in two ways. One, the expectations that you have of yourself with your life. And then two, the expectations you have of someone else and the relationship inside of, what you have with that person. And you have to have goals, right? You have to have a plan and goals and take action, but to have expectations on yourself, it's really interesting to figure out where they come from. The idea, we've talked about this, the idea of perfection, where does that come from? What expectations do I have of myself based on that? Or the expectations that you have of someone else, because they can totally put a halt on action because fear gets involved, right? There's that word fear of expectation. So Nina, you're right on. I love it. Hard to do. It's hard to do because they've been ingrained in us since we were this big, and it's tough to do.
Yeah, and one easy way, right, is to, instead of attacking this big monster of I had an expectation, it came from outside. It came from how I was raised. It came from all of these other things. That's why I'm finding it really powerful and Mary even said it, go with the flow. And it's a way that you can do a micro action to help you on the path of understanding the expectation and where it came from.
Yes.
But it's this way of, when you release something and it's holding you back, you actually you take one step forward. You didn't solve everything. You will have to go back and understand where the expectation came from. Why is it holding you back, or whatever the thing is, right? It's usually big. It usually goes deep.
It does
And
go
that's what
deep.
I'm finding.
Oh my gosh, it
It's
does.
so deep. There's so many levels, and you can't attack
Yeah.
all the levels. You're here in the now.
Mm-mm.
Something's holding you back, or you're feeling weird about an expectation you didn't hit or something. Like your number one goal for yourself is to at least take one step forward. And by
Yeah.
releasing something, going with the flow a little bit, releasing, just say, this, I'm recognizing I'm feeling held back, and I'm not liking the feeling this is giving me. So
I did that this morning.
tell us about it.
Real time, real time. And I had a list of things I wanted to get done this morning. And it can be on the daily, however people say that these days, right? Sometimes I feel so old because when I say something, I'm like, that's so trendy.
I love it.
But on the daily, you have a goal, a list of things to do today. And it's by 10 o'clock, I wanted these 4 things done. I got one done and had to shift and let go of the expectations I had of myself and being able to achieve all of those things. And before I did that, I got really grumpy. I got really annoyed with myself because I did it again. I put these expectations on myself. I know that things are going to get in the way, and I didn't prepare my mind for needing to let go of that. And so I got annoyed, and then I gave myself a moment. And right before we got on today, my laptop wanted to reboot. And I'm like, all right, I'm releasing the desire to control the moment. Done. And I have been working on releasing the need to control things for quite a long time. And I tell you, it's hard,
It's
hard, but it feels so good. And,
it's
and
it's hard.
death. Those of you that are closest to me know that I get a little gritty when I get to that point of frustration too, because it's like, okay, it's tough. And so something that comes to mind when you're in this space, when you're working on releasing things, and oh, Mary Beth, it wasn't you. You actually took me from place to place. It was not you. You're so funny. I love it. Mary Beth and I chatted this morning on the phone, and she's like, whew, I'm like, you're coming with me. I'll be right back, but you're coming with me. Anyway, it's a matter of, I can't remember what I was going to say now. It'll come back to me, but letting go of control.
Letting go of control. And Nina just wrote, the only thing you can control in life is your reactions and emotions versus the moment. And it's so true.
Yeah.
I thought we could kind of dive into the song a bit, because
I just pulled up the lyrics too.
Yeah, the song I chose, and then you can go back and watch it. This is such a beautiful song by Grace Potter, and it was released pretty recently. And I love this song. And the song is about a relationship. Okay. And with relationships, we know the number of expectations we put on them. And most of them are from society. Like, I don't know about you, but I watched Disney movies growing up. So like I'm fucked. Like all like my societal pressures of relationship has been something I've had to really, really, really work on. So in this song, what I love about this is you can hear her holding herself back about the relationship from pain that she caused someone else. And she's holding on to things. And she's saying, I release you. So in the courses, I release you, though it's hard to say the words, I release you from holding on to the bridge I burned. I release you from the darkness, from the love that we swore was true. And I hope that someday the sun will shine again and you'll release me too. And the reason I wanted to choose this song for this is because it's clear that it's not figured out yet. It's in a state of the process of releasing. And there's a couple things in here. One, I love the music associated with the lyrics. So if you haven't listened to it, it really has a beautiful vibe, and you feel the darkness in this spiraling kind of moment. You feel some release, but not all the way. And the reason I'm saying that is because of how the melody and the music come together and the beautiful piano work. But what I want to talk about, though, is this idea of releasing someone else when really it's all internal, right? So she has in her mind this idea of like hoping that someone else will let go of all this stuff. And you really have no control over that. It's what Nina said. You really just have control over your own emotions. So when you decide to release something, that's like the hardest thing, to know someone else is hurting still and hasn't released.
Right. Yes. And it doesn't mean that you don't care. And it doesn't mean that they're not important to you. And it doesn't mean that you don't want the best for them. In fact, it's typically the opposite of that you care so much that you have to let them go in a way that frees them and eventually will free you back. Right. And yeah, that resonates deeply for me.
Yeah.
I'm not crying.
I'm not crying. Nina said the piano melody made her cry. That song is just so beautiful. And I only listened like I love that. And I think that's the hardest thing, is when you do work really hard to release something that's holding you back, to know that someone that you care about is still has not released, or someone you care about isn't releasing something else. Maybe doesn't have to deal with you, right? You can see it from the outside, right? And all you can do is release something from yourself. You literally, there's nothing you can do except for be there for them or talk with them or whatever. But you can only really, you really are only have ownership over your own emotions and feelings, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting when you consider how to make a lifestyle out of this level of awareness and this level of release and this level of pure love that you want for not only yourself, but your people.
Ooh, I like this.
Right. And when you get to the point of knowing that the only way that that other person can love themselves wholly is by you letting them go, it's a completely different up level of your own self-love. Because you can let it go. And the releasing of a thing or the releasing of a person is all self-love, and it's really why we're here. So we don't carry expectations on ourselves or each other. So we are able to love fully as we came into this world, unconditional love. And when we hold on so tight to all the things and for all the reasons that, have only been defined by everybody but our own selves, it doesn't serve anybody. And the
No.
release of that is so powerful. And it can actually be a major mind fuck.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Because you're doing something that's completely different than anything you've ever done before.
When you
goes
start
against the grain.
when you start to step into that, and it's something I've been feeling more and more, and as we've been working together, like every Friday, all of us together has been amazing. When we do release something, I want to highlight too, for me, it's not that I don't care. In fact, it means I care so much, that I love myself so much. I care so much that
Yes.
this thing is making me feel this way. And I'm realizing that me spending energy, and it's nothing outward. It's not necessarily a response or something I'm saying. It's literally, no one knows that I've let it go. I don't need to announce it. I don't, it is something that's so within. And when that happens, what happens is then my responses do change, but I'm not actively changing my responses to things. And so I like what Carrie said. You can only control your responses, and to some extent, I agree with that. But what happens is that you control your responses by going one step deeper and really feeling the release of letting someone go or letting a situation go. It's okay. I don't really want to, I don't want to feel that way. And it's okay. It didn't work out in the way I thought it was going to work out, but it has to be really deep. And then only then will your responses change. Right. So I don't control my responses. I control how I feel about the situation. And then by default, then my responses change.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. And what you just said, Kelsey, brought me to as within, so without.
Say it again.
It's as within, so without. That our inner, right? Have you heard that before? As within, so without.
No, but that needs to go on a song.
As within, so without.
I have no writing utensil. I'm going to write on my computer. Yes.
We have a recording.
Oh, that's so true. So without. I love that. And the better I get at releasing those things, because it doesn't matter if I try to control my responses of something, I have to let it go, or I have to change how I feel about it and understand my responsibility, if there is any or if there isn't. And then once I get really solid in the foundation, I don't worry about how I'm going to respond, or if it comes back up, or if whatever, I see something, I'm at a different place now.
Yes. Yeah. And this actually, and what you're talking about, it leads us down the path of our, and really as within, so without is about the outer world reflecting our inner journey, our inner truth. So it leads us down this path of manifesting. And when you release something, you make room for something else. It could be in a relationship. It could be, something deep within that's driven by, as we often talk about, limiting beliefs from society, growing up, parents, teachers, priests, whatever, right? But when we continue to hold on and think with these things that don't serve us anymore, that's what the world will continue to reflect back to us. So when we release, when we let go, when we open up our whole world, as within, so without, the outer world will reflect that inner journey.
Whether you think you can or think you cannot, you are right.
Absolutely.
You
Yes.
know,
I love
and
that.
it's the same idea that by releasing and letting go of what's holding you back, that will start to affect what is out in the real, in reality. And it
Yes.
comes from within. I have worked so hard sometimes on like just like how you spend tons of time thinking of how you're going to deal with a difficult situation, let's say with a coworker,
Oh,
and you're just like, I was gonna say a name, but I was gonna like try to find a name that no one's here. Let's say like we're
well,
gonna
Shelly's here for the first time too. So I don't know how Shelly's connected, but hi,
Shelly's
Shelly.
connected with me. Hi, Shelly. So I don't know, Barbara. Are there any Barbaras here? There's no Barbaras. So Barbara at work, it's just really hard for me to work with her. And every time I talk with her, I get, she's defensive, I'm defensive. It just feels like bad energy, right? And so then you start to spend so much energy trying to figure out, okay, how you're going to talk with Barbara. Right? Because you're going to talk with her when you go both get coffee or at the break room or whatever, or go to the printer. And so when you focus your energy on the specific reaction you're going to have, then you have to think about all the reactions she could have. So you have a, back and forth, right? All of this energy I'm learning through experience and through whatever, it's pointless. You have to, that's so much energy, like to try to, and I've done that so many times. I've done it so many times. How am I going to respond to this email? And so instead, if you take a step back and you realize that those feelings you have about Barbara or whoever your Barbara is, I didn't want to say Karen because I think we have a Karen.
I was just going to say that.
Karen, I don't know, whoever your Barbara or Karen or whatever it is, or John or Bobby, whatever. Um, so by realizing it's awareness, realizing I don't like these emotions that come up every time that I see them, that I am around them, that I'm talking to them, but I have to, I can't just avoid them. That also makes me feel bad. So then that's when you pause, like you've talked about, step back, and then think about, you have to let that go. What is it about the situation that you feel like you have to be in control of, right? Like, what is it like? Let's talk about that. Like, once you recognize some situation like that, it's with releasing it from within that then will change your responses to her, or him, right? And will change all the actions, but you don't think about the actions. You go deeper within to let it go. So let's like dive into
You're
what.
so cute. You're like, let's do this right now. Yeah, I love that. I love how excited you get. So what comes to mind for me when you say that is this question. When you're thinking so intensely about how you're going to deal with something that hasn't yet happened, but maybe happened in the past, what are you ignoring?
The present.
Exactly. That's right. And when you're in the present moment, you're more connected to yourself. You're more able to make rational decisions. You're able to look at it from a lens of love, calm, joy, like all the pieces that go with this. You aren't future thinking and you aren't ruminating over the past. And really, the goal is that every new moment, fresh moment, as Isabel Tierney says, every new moment has the opportunity to exist with infinite possibilities.
Oh, I love
So
that.
when you can stay present, have a plan like, okay, Barbara did this to me last time. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm also not going to worry myself to pieces and not be able to exist in the present moment, but I'm going to have a plan for next time that happens. And so you release the hold that the past experience had on you, because that past experience won't change. but the story that you carry around it in the present moment
Mm.
can. And then
Yes.
you just have a plan for how you want to deal with it in the future. You
The
don't
plan,
have to kill yourself thinking about it,
the
but
plan for the, say that again, the plan for the future moment.
yeah, the plan, you can have the plan. So release the past experience because that can't change, but it gives you enough knowledge and wisdom that you can have a plan in the present moment for what could happen next time. Like if this happens again, I know how I'd like to respond, and then let it go.
Ooh,
Don't ruminate over the past by thinking about it again in the future. You're recreating the past in the future when you leave the present out.
yeah.
Does that?
Yeah, the only thing that I'm struggling with that in my mind is that for me, I overthink things. So what'll happen is I will try to create a plan for every possibility.
And,
And it
and
gets
what happens to you when you do that?
right. Well, that's what
What
you're talking about though, is having a plan for the future. And I'm almost suggesting, like, I'm finding that, like, you can, my plan for the future would be I'm going to come in with an open mind, and I'm not going to hold
Right.
myself captive by the things that happened in the past. I feel good about
Exactly.
myself. And then what happens is I trust that the energy I bring into the situation is
Yep.
better than it has been. So the possibility of it turning out better is better than it has been. And that's where I stop. Because
Right.
if I will go down this, I'll do a little hamster wheel of all the ways
Yeah.
I'm going to react. And that's not letting go,
No,
right?
it's
Holding
not releasing it. It's not releasing it. So what you're doing, the overthinking and over analyzing is actually a stress response because you want to control something. So overthinking and overanalyzing is a stress response. And if you can avoid that by letting it go, you won't live inside of that stress response. But to have a plan, like, hey, now here's the other thing that I've learned, that if I have a plan that is too ABCD, no fluidity, and the thing happens, I tend to not do ABCD and I live inside of fluidity, which is okay, right? It's okay, but you can plan yourself into a hole. And that is not at all what we're talking about.
Well, that's why I'm suggesting no ABCD. Like, I've started to, like, especially if it's like interactions with people that maybe haven't been that great, I don't allow myself to think of ABCD with them. There's no more, no more. I need to release what's happened in the past, become okay with myself with all of that. If I have to interact with them, uh, understand that I'm not coming in with an ABCD anymore, because that didn't work before,
Yes.
and let it go, and
Right.
then allow myself to actually feel in the present moment what's going on, so that I have the best chances of it becoming the best it can be.
Absolutely. You actually have to, it's a very advanced skill to rewire your brain to do that. Right. So we all can rewire our brains. But what happens is we get stuck in that subconscious reaction, and it's the stress response. Whatever your stress response is, you get stuck there and it's subconscious. So it very quickly becomes the thing that we do. But as you become more aware of it and you learn to let go and release whatever it is wrapped around, then you can move into the ability to trust and to let it flow. And that can happen. And it happens for lots of people. And the thing that we need to remember is that it doesn't always happen with the people in front of us. So the only thing that we have in control of is our own selves, right? Not their reaction to what we're doing, not their response to how we've done things. And yeah, it is a good idea to not ruminate over the past experience, give it a new story in the present moment, and not get stuck in overthinking about the future.
Yeah, and trust that we are no longer going
Yes.
to overthink it. And
Yeah.
then when something comes up, we'll deal with it then. There's something I did recently that helped me a lot. It's releasing an idea that keeps coming up, right? And what I did was I texted a friend of mine. I was like, hey, do you have 5 minutes? I know what you're going to tell me about this. I need to bounce something off of you. I already know what you're going to tell me because I'm trying to tell myself this. But sometimes uh, I'm working through things, and I understand there will be a time where I'm strong enough to where I can be that for myself and
Yep.
just and trust when I say something. Hey, you need to let this go. This isn't yours to hold. It's not useful to hold it. It's making you feel bad to hold it. There's no benefit to holding it. Right? I knew all the things, but I'm still working on it. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna call my friend and I already know she's going to tell me it's the same thing I'm telling myself, but I'm still in a place right now with this where I need a little help, and that's okay. I'm going to ask for help. And she said, we talked, and she said the same damn thing that I had in my head. And she goes, I know, but sometimes it's nice to hear it from someone else. And
Absolutely.
so highlighting that these ideas of like when something's holding you back and you need to release it, it doesn't just because you're aware, just because you know you need to let it go, um, giving yourself time to do that and it'll keep popping up.
Oh yeah. Especially as you go deeper. Yeah.
Yeah,
As you go deeper. I mean, a lot of the things that we hold on to come from so many generations before us that if we release it for ourselves, that's just the first layer. And then all of a sudden it's going to come creeping back in and you get to release it at another layer. And so I love, and Angela said it too, sounding boards, they're the best. And, don't tell them you know what they're going to say, right? But you know that they, are going to give you what you've already put out there as what you think is the right thing. So, I also really like what Nina said. She got taught a very interesting technique to relax, think of the end goal, feel it, how it feels to reach the end goal, and let it go and trust yourself that you'll get there. Yeah. Put it
absolutely.
out there.
I like that she's focusing on the feeling
Mm-hmm.
because the more that I think about things and this is how I write. How does this
I
song
was,
make you feel? If it
yeah.
makes you feel a certain way, now it doesn't have to be the exact feeling I'm having because that's the
Right.
beauty of song, right? And so but it's going to make you feel something in the realm of this thing, right? And by focusing on feelings, that's how we become aware of stuff and trusting yourself, right? So if you trust yourself, you're going to get there. What'll happen is anytime you start feeling way far away from the feeling of that end goal or what you're kind of going for, it's just going to help you find a red flag. Oh, I think I took the wrong turn. No problem. I can recognize it, release this thing, get back on track based off of feelings. I love that.
Absolutely. Mm. So, what you just said took me back to the lyrics of the song released by Grace Potter. Because often when you pick a song or we have a conversation about a song, different things come up for us, right? And I look at the lyric, and I don't know what this is called inside of the music because I still don't get that all, but whatever. I could never change my heart after being where it's been.
Oh, yeah,
And
I love
then
it.
she leads into I release you from the darkness, from the love that we swore was true. But I could never change my heart after being where it's been. And that sits with me in a way that when we stay inside of something, we can't change our heart. We honor what's there, right? You honor what's there and you honor the experience and you honor everything that's gotten you to this point. You can't change it from being where it's been.
Oh,
Right?
okay. I'm connecting with that very deeply.
Yeah.
Keep
But you,
going. You're on a roll. This is
yeah, well, and you give it the love and the grace that it deserves, and you then move forward with it. Like it's still going to be a part of you in that sense, but it doesn't need to be the part that controls the thing that you do next. Like you're not going to change it, but it's going to always be there, you know? So,
what that is another way to view this idea of releasing things and being
yeah.
grateful for I could never change my heart after being where it's been. This, it's going back to Nina's comment about trusting yourself. It's going back to the comments we've had about uh, well, it was trusting yourself and then uh, relaxing into your goal. The
Mhm.
idea that in living in the present, I can never change my heart after being where it's been. You're
The
right in the present.
experience.
You're in
Yeah,
the present with that statement.
exactly. Exactly. The experience won't change. It will always be the experience that it was. It lives there. But what you get to do with it now is really, really what matters.
Yeah.
The
Let's
story that you have
Yeah.
now.
Let's bring this back to that Karen or Barbara or Johnny or Bobby in your life, because now I'm going to spin it into something that isn't so beautiful. I'm going to say that there's someone in your life that's just being a jackass, in your opinion, right? And that you need to let go. You need to let go. And so when I hear the words, I could never change my heart after being where it's been, if someone mistreats you enough times, there's just a point at which your expectations of them and what they like, you're just like, wow, like I I just can't. There's just nothing there for you. In fact, you're not even sparking anger in me just cuz I like almost feel a little bad like for whatever's going on in your life that you have to be that way. And it's just, I love that. I can never change my heart after being where it's been. It's kind of like this, oh, sweetheart, or oh, bless your heart, right? Where
Exactly.
you let it go.
Exactly. You let it go. I mean, I have a relationship with my brother that I mean, any connection you have with another person is a relationship, whether it really exists in the present moment or not. So but it took me a long time, years, 50 years, to realize that it is okay to move on, that he's going to be in, he's in that space of eventually things come back to the way they've always been. And I've released the need to do more with that. I'm just going to let it be what it is. Right? I could never change my heart after being where it's been.
Yep. And in that statement, there's so much trust. There's just so much, oh,
Mhm.
this is what it's been through,
Yeah.
and then it's light. It's just light. It's
Oh,
trust
I love
and
that.
it's
Ooh. Whew.
in the moment. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, you can't, the one thing about awakening, about movement forward, about transformation, about self, actualization, growth, whatever you want to call the journey that we are on, all of it, it's not easy, right? The easy thing is to always do what we've always done, which is hold on tight, constrict, don't release the things. It's not easy. And when you feel the urge that something just isn't right and serving you anymore, that's when you get to do this work. It's so much fun. But like you said at the beginning, when we started, if you don't feel like something needs releasing and you're good rolling along, go
Yeah.
do that, because that's just living in the present moment as it is.
There's nothing wrong with any of us.
It should
If
always be easy.
Yeah, if you feel great, awesome. There might be a moment when you stumble a bit and then maybe you have to work on something. Shelly just said something about not beating ourselves up. We do that so much. And I really look at life as like, we're never done. We're never done. I can have the highest goal possible. I will never reach it because I'm never done. And if I view it that way, then it just becomes kind of fun because now it's just the journey and I'm just going to enjoy the hell out of it,
Yeah.
right? And
Yes.
I would get frustrated when I couldn't let things go, but then I'd let it go. And then there'd be something else that I'd have to let go and release. And then I would release. And then there'd be something else I'd have to let go. And I started getting really frustrated because I thought that eventually I'd be done. And I'm realizing I'm not. No,
Right.
periods where I'm good. I'm good. Everything's good. And then something pops up. And instead of having a negative response to that, it's this idea that being curious about feelings that come up that we don't want. This is good. I get to be curious about something. I'm going to step up a little notch, and maybe the people around me are going to feed off of that because I know for sure the
Yes.
people that are around me, as they work on things and I work on things, we all become stronger and better. And so all of it is exactly what needs to happen and is good.
Absolutely. And
And
it's true. And I mean, you're talking about the things in essence that happen naturally once you step into that whole idea of being curious, right? We welcome uncertainty. We think, okay, I don't need to control things. I'm not exactly sure what this looks like. And we move to uncertainty, and that's good. We bring others along with us. So we have that connection of others with us. These things all help and matter as we try to move forward and release anything that holds us back. So, I being vulnerable inside of all of that is so important because it will create the ripple effect that you just talked about. And
yeah,
taking action, you have to take action in order to do the thing.
to do the thing. And I love that Carrie and Angela, you guys both caught my bless your heart. Now, when someone from the Midwest, i.e., me, says bless your heart, it definitely means fuck you. That's what that means when I say that. If I said it seriously to
I'm
someone,
trying to remember the last time I said, "Oh, bless your heart." And I know I do it with that little head tilt and that little smirk on my face. Like,
a little eyebrow that goes up, you're like, "Oh, bless your heart." And I do it sarcastically mainly. But if I say it seriously, then you know that I'm not happy. But I don't know. There's just some people where you can't quite tell them all the truth. You're just like, oh man,
yeah,
you
Angela said something earlier. I'm going to see if I can find it because I really loved Angela's so good at metaphorically describing something. And I really loved it. It was letting it go versus letting it sit on a back burner, when we aren't necessarily, paying attention to it. But so that's one thing, or letting it go, but then pulling back threads of it until we're holding the whole ball of yarn again. Right. And that can be the ease. Like, we take this bold step forward, we become vulnerable and we let it go. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh shit, what have we done? And we reel it back in just a little, and then we reel it back in a little more. And all of a sudden it's right there in front of us again. And that is truly what progress looks like, right? Because you get that little ounce of fear and you're like, shit. And the subconscious goes, I know how to fix that. Let's do what we've always done. Right. And it all in, so, but that one step forward you took in letting it go the first time isn't lost at all. Your
right.
brain remembers it. Your brain absolutely remembers it. So the next time you do it, it's like doing it double time, right? Or exponentially. And then you do it again. And it's like 5 times, then 10 times. So it's really exciting to feel how invigorating it is when you step out of that and you release and you step out of the comfort zone and you really do feel lighter.
Yes.
You feel lighter. And actually that's part of the quote that I found for today.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think? Is there anything else inside of that you want to
I
explore?
really liked the idea of because I brought up how it all just repeats in different ways when you level up and when you become stronger and when you become a better version of yourself and you love yourself more. There's always going to be something that comes up that you have to solve, and
Yeah.
that's but when you embrace it and it becomes something that's fun and you realize, and hopefully you have people around you that can act as mirrors or sounding boards and say, remember like the last situation, look at how you're dealing with it this time. Like, and when someone helps you shine a light on that and you're like, wow, I am making progress, and the problems are different, the problems seem higher up rather than the small things. I just made huge problems that were really they're nothing now, they're like so small to me. And it's that idea that once you practice it once and take the step forward once, it's way easier to take the step forward again. It's way
Yep.
easier. And every time you do it, you just get better. And that hopefully we have, and this is what we have in this little group here every Friday, we're going to talk about stuff. And I feel from everyone here, and I hope you feel it too, is that we're all working on stuff and it's fun to do it together.
It's
Right?
so much fun to do it together. And I think, you can celebrate your progress as you go, hey, I get that. I got that one. And then you can, take a step back and go, oh, what can I do with this? How do my views about X prevent me from letting something go? How are they holding me back? How are they not allowing me to hear something that could change my life? What am I walking, And so, but it's so much fun. It's so much fun to do it together. And I love learning from each other. It's
Same.
one of my most favorite things. And I've said it for the last, I don't know, 10 years. We don't learn from each other enough.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
I think having my son really made me realize that we don't learn from each other enough. You don't realize that when you're growing up that, oh, they have to figure it out on their own. But yeah, it really is a thing. And, we could learn from each other and maybe not have to figure it out so roughly on our own. Right?
Yes. Yeah. There's still effort that needs to go into it, and you have to step into your own truth and everything. But man, it's way easier when you got your tribe. You got people that you can bounce things off of. You can call someone and say, "I know it. I know what you're going to tell me because I'm telling myself, but I need you to tell me what you think about this." And you hear it, and you're like, "That's exactly what I told myself, and it sounds better coming from you." Thank you for the
Sounds better coming from you. I love that.
a reminder. and
Oh,
and no judgment, right, to yourself. And as we start, but again, none of this is, you don't have to go through any of this. This is simply something, if it comes up for you,
right.
then get curious. But if you're good, and life is good, and everything's fine, like, awesome,
Yeah, I know.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It's the moments that you start feeling a certain way that you don't want to feel, and that's why we do this, because we want to have these available for people to be like, crap, shit
Yep.
at the fan, I need
Yeah.
to do this thing.
Yeah. I guess exactly what you're saying is don't should yourself, right? Just because someone is
Yes.
going through something doesn't mean that you should be going through it too,
Right.
or you should be seeing it the way they see it. No, 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 no. Your own individuality, your own unique worthiness, and the feelings that you have are what drive your existence, are what drive your motivation and how you inspire yourself every day. Don't should yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, if a friend of mine is going through something and they're working on something internally, like, doesn't mean I need to. If I'm happy with where I'm at, like, it's only an issue if you don't like how it makes you feel. And that's the key.
Yes,
If you
absolutely.
like how you're feeling, then what are you trying to work on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I know. And I love that because there's a point in time when you are comfortable. Like, okay, we call them in the feel good life, we call them channels. Like we live in this homeostatic place. And if you're happy and you're good with where you're at right now, your homeostasis is good. That's great. Just be.
Just be. We're human beings. We're
Right.
human beings, right? We're just being.
Yep, exactly. And when you hit that point, of oh God, why am I feeling this way? Why don't I like what's happening? That's called a zone of turbulence. And that's your opportunity to grow, dig in, figure it out, release, let go, all the things. And you will likely jump into a new homeostatic level.
I,
And
I love what you just said. You just brought up something that we're going to do in July, but you said some words about why. And I think that before you even get to a why, what happens is we go, I don't like how I feel. And then we start complaining. I don't like how I feel. Right.
yeah,
And if you have good people around you, they're going to go, well, then you got some work to do to change it. Stop complaining to me.
right.
And I've done this with my friend before. And she's recognized, she's like, every time you keep bringing this thing up, you want to solve it with me? Or are we going to just keep bringing, what do you need right now?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm at a place now where I do less complaining, but I have done it before. And so in the times when I realized that, and at the time I didn't realize, but I had feelings that were coming up for me, right? And I didn't ask why. I wanted to complain about them and they didn't get better, right? So this is something we talked about, is in July. Do you want
Yep.
to talk about our July idea?
Oh, July is so much fun. We're going to talk about why in July. We're going to explore this. Kelsey and I were having fun the other day. We're going to explore why in July, and we're going to break it down. And the first thing we're going to start with is why have a why?
Yeah.
Why have a why to what you're doing? And then we're going to talk about why we complain. And so we'll post in our new Facebook page, Lyrical Lessons for Life. We will post the 5 weeks of July's why. So, and yes, Angela, sometimes we do need to just,
Exactly.
it's okay to
Exactly.
vent. We were talking about that, venting versus solving. Sometimes you just need to vent.
Right. And I think the key for me, at least if I like complain like many, many times about something, eventually you hope you have a friend that says, do you never want it to get better? Because if you never
Right.
want it to get better, sure, you can keep complaining about it.
Yes.
You
I'm
know,
excited about July,
I
actually.
love July. And eventually you get to the point where you have to start asking why if you want to make it change. And
Right.
Nina goes, what do I need to do right now to make this feel better? Right. And it's still around that idea of a why. Like, why am I feeling this way? Right. You have to ask if you're complaining and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What am I going to have to do? Right. And so
Right.
I love this. We're going to talk all in July about why. And I
Yes.
love this.
Oh, Shelly, you're so sweet.
Oh,
Thank you. I'm not alone and look forward. No, you are so not alone,
you are
girl.
not alone. We are here
Not at
every
all.
Friday, and you're here with everyone here in the chat. So this is
Here's our
quote.
here's our quote for the week, too. Ready? Um, I just okay, we'll see you, Carrie.
Hi, Karen.
Here's the quote. Sometimes you don't feel the weight of something you've been carrying until you feel the weight of its release.
Oh, say that again. I love this so
I know,
much.
I love this too. Sometimes you don't feel the weight of something you've been carrying until you feel the weight of its release.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry because what happens when we are being held back, whether it's ourselves or other things, what for me personally, what's happened is as I'm going on a journey, I will start to collect rocks, just small rocks. They're not that big, but in one interaction will make me hold a small rock, and then another interaction with that same person or same situation, and I'll hold another rock exactly, and then by the end of after so long, I'm like, my back is starting to hurt. And in my backpack, I have a bazillion rocks. I've got just 150 rocks in my back. And I'm like, whoa, but I don't even know they're there. I just know that my back hurts, right? So then when I let it go and I release it, all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's a whole lot easier to walk now. My back doesn't like, this is great. I resonate with that so strongly because it's not this big event, but it's through time. And after time elapses, it becomes this big thing that you don't realize how big it was until you release. I love this.
Yes. Isn't that great? I know it really sat with me too, especially because as I pointed behind me here, and for those that are going to listen to the audio only one day, you won't see this, but I love to build cairns, and cairns are stacks of rocks. And I love to put my intentions into the rocks and build them. And really for me, it's a spiritual journey of what that feels like to let those things go and put my world into those rocks, but not carry them with me. I build something beautiful with them instead. Yeah.
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing that quote. And yeah, we'll have to share that on the Facebook page,
Yeah.
Lyrical Lessons for Life. We'd love if you joined us there. And yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun. Angela just resonated with you. I had the exact same experience with excess weight, Kelsey.
Ah,
Yeah.
right? There's things that'll creep up on us. And when you let it go, that's when you're like, oh, I love that quote. Thank you for that.
You're
That
welcome.
really wrapped all of this up really nicely.
Yeah. It's been fun. It always is fun with you, Kelsey.
I have so much fun talking with you, Joe. It still blows my mind. We don't practice or have
I know.
we don't have we just do this free form.
Yep. Let's talk a topic. And if my laptop wants to reboot at 11:42, so here we are.
Exactly. We're letting it go.
Oh
So
my
why
goodness.
in July?
Yes, why in July? We're going to start with why have a why.
Why have a why? Well, I'm excited about this. And then we'll be here every Friday, 11:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. And thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank
being
you.
here, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah.
And your, just your commentary. Love and light to all of you.
Yes. Awesome. We'll see you Friday next week. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.